everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the latest ALLDATA webinar. Today we'll be focusing on tips on increasing your productivity and efficiency in today's shop. So we're just going to go over a few of the logistics. We're scheduled today for 30 minutes. We'll be hanging around afterwards for Q&A. Please use the chat box. We have a lot of folks on the phone today, so all the lines are muted. Please type your questions in the chat box. You can do that at any time, and we'll be holding them until the end. I'm also told you'll all receive a copy of the presentation. My name's Laura Wilkerson. I am the product specialist for ALLDATA Manage Online, and we are happy to have John Lee with us today. John's had many roles in his 37 years of experience, currently our manager of operations for automotive support, but he's also had many years as a successful shop owner and automotive business consultant. A lot of things can affect your productivity. We'll be focusing specifically on these three today, and including employees, downtime, streamlining operations. John, I read in an article that you recently wrote, you mentioned that owning a successful business, automotive business these days, is a lot more involved than just knowing how to fix cars right and being able to provide customer service.
Absolutely, and probably the most common tale out in the automotive field right now is where, let's say, Pete is a great auto mechanic, and he also provides really good customer service. And he's been working for Bob for a lot of years, and he decides, I can do this for myself. Why is Bob making all the money off of my efforts, And so he goes and finds a place to open a shop, brings his tools in, opens the doors, and nobody shows up, or he has a couple of people show up. And he finds that he's actually probably making the same or less money than he made as a flat rate tech, and that's just such a common tale. The things that we wanted to address today are probably about the four most common things that I address with every single client that I've had over the last 15 years. Every shop is a little bit different, but these are the four highest key points that I usually like to try to focus on. And so what I want to do today in that 30-minute time is I want to just kind of focus on how it applies to mechanics, the service writer, as well as the shop owner. Okay. Now, to start off, the first thing we're going to address is just some managing productivity with mechanics and technicians. Different parts of the country classify mechanics and technicians differently, so I wanted to address them both in the same way. Managing workload effectively with mechanics is always a pretty big key in productivity. Some of the best ways that successful shops manage this type of productivity is if having specialty skill sets out in the lab, or I should say in the shop area. Some people call it a lab. Having a guy that can do the same type of thing over and over gets very, very good at doing that kind of work. Now, obviously, if you're a one-man operation or you've only got you and another guy, it's, slightly different. But if you've got a shop that's got, 3 or 4 guys in it, it usually works out pretty well when you have one guy that does just undercar work and one guy that's doing just high-end maintenance, diagnostics, electronics, and one guy's doing, maintenance work, something like that.
They get very fast.
They get very fast and very good, and that helps in your productivity, less comebacks, things like that. The other thing that you can do to help productivity as well is, have an early or late shift guy that can really build your business. Now, what I mean by that is, you can take, maybe your low-end totem pole guy, maybe it's your parts driver, or maybe it's your oil change guy or something. Have him come in at 7 o'clock in the morning, because guess what? Your customers have to go to work at 8 o'clock, and that's when they want to drop off their car before 8 o'clock so they don't miss work. Same thing goes for at the end of the day. Stay open until 6 o'clock. You don't have to keep your whole mechanical staff on until that time. Just, keep someone to maybe shuttle drive somebody to and from work. Have a radius You can go 5 miles away from the shop, something like that. These are some of the things that can help build your business. I know a lot of shops already kind of do something like that, but these are the things that help build your business.
My shop. I choose a shop because I can drop my car off before work and get a ride to work and be on time.
Absolutely. The thing is you have to set yourself apart from everybody else.
Right.
That's what's going to build your business, okay? Now, next thing, managing productivity also with mechanics, unbillable shop time. Now, here's what I mean by that. How much time are you spending researching diagnostic information? I'm not talking about repair information. I'm talking about diagnostics. So when you have a problem vehicle and you're trying to do research, how much time are your guys spending doing that? You need to develop a diagnostic research time stopgap. Now, stopgaps are done very well in effective shops, okay? I usually suggest that you put a stopgap of around 15, maybe 20 minutes of doing diagnostic research. If you haven't figured out how to find the information, then you should engage other resources to help you gather that information. Yeah, I know you think, oh, it only takes a couple of minutes to find it on Google. Trust me, anytime you're on the internet, it only seems like a couple of minutes, but then you turn around and it's 20 minutes later, or it's 45 minutes later, and you're still nowhere. Okay.
Sounds like a great place to engage ALLDATA community.
And, I'll of course do a shameless plug for community, you bet. That's one of the teams that I manage. So you bet, that's exactly what you can do. Let them do the research for you. Now, next thing, unbilled diagnostic time. Okay, now, I know that most shops charge an hour for diagnostic time, but how often do you guys spend more than an hour on diagnostic time, okay? Do difficult diagnoses go way past the time that you're actually billing for it, okay? And truth is, it does. It does, and you've got to decide within your particular shop how often that happens. Now, what I suggest is you put a diagnostic stopgap in for if you've spent more than 1.2 to 1.5 hours doing a diagnosis on a car, then and I'm sure you guys have that once a week. At least it's once a week for most shops, okay? Put a stopgap on if you've gone over an hour and a half. Engage a good resource for you to help you with that diagnosis. It's no shame in asking for help, especially with today's technology on cars. There's just too much to know about it. Now, let me take it one step further. It's not on this slide, but let me take it one step further. It's okay to charge a $1, what we call a repair information fee. Just like what you guys charge, like a $3 hazardous waste fee for doing oil changes, or you've got to get rid of your parts, and sometimes that costs money to get rid of them.
Add it into your shop supplies.
Absolutely. A customer is not going to complain about a $1 repair information fee. Okay, or make it $2, $2.50, whatever you want it to be. I suggest not going over $3, okay? But that's another way you can recoup something for what you use for diagnosis help.
Well, and in Texas, ALLDATA Texas hotline is such a small charge that would more than cover it.
Absolutely, and if you guys haven't heard of ALLDATA Texas, that's our new diagnostic hotline, then by all means, call your account executive. You can get on a free trial, things like that. So now, next thing, let's shift over to service writer. Planning ahead for scheduled appointments, okay? Now, managing parts readiness effectively is pretty big for the service writer, okay? And I know some of you shops do a pretty good job of it. You've got good service writers that do this. But, the thing is when you've got a car, it's coming in for a brake job. Why is it some shops wait to order the parts until the car's there? If you know what's coming in, just go ahead and have it ready to go. Mm-hmm. Same thing goes for if your techs are getting ready to bring the car in, have the parts already ready to go when the car is coming into the shop. That way, the tech has less downtime. The service writer helps them out. It's all shop productivity. Okay, these are some of those things that seem like, hey, I know all this stuff, but, a lot of shops don't follow through. So, sometimes it's good to write some of this stuff down. Now, the next thing is ordering parts. electronic versus telephone. Now I know, us old school guys, we're used to ordering parts over the phone, and I know traditionally there's probably 75% of the shops out there, they still order by the phone because that's what we're comfortable with. We've been doing it for 20, 30, 40 years, and that's what we're comfortable with. I'll tell you what, if you shift over to an electronic ordering system, you can't even imagine how much time it's going to save you, which is going to increase your productivity.
It's going to save you time, as well as most vendors will give you an actual additional discount for ordering parts through a system like this, through ordering electronically.
Absolutely.
And Manage Online does make that really easy. May I show you how the program works?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's look over at Manage Online real quick.
I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. So this is what the schedule looks like for Manage Online. I can very quickly take a look at my day, and I can see, because of the color coding that I've set up here, I can see exactly what kind of jobs I have here. So I know that all the blue ones are general repairs. I know that the pink ones are diagnosis. I know that the green ones are maintenance, and the orange ones are inspection. So now for my repairs, I can take a look and I can see, okay, I have all my parts ordered for this one. I have, and they're here and the car's on the ramp. I have all my parts ordered for this one, but I'm still waiting to get those parts. Some of the parts for this one I haven't ordered my parts yet. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this ticket. And we've decided that we've diagnosed that we need an alternator for here. So I'm going to go into my repair time. So what it's doing now is accessing all of my parts and labor catalogs. So it's going to default to the OEM, and this is the information that you would normally get if you went out to your ALLDATA subscription and looked at parts and labor for this vehicle. I don't have to do that, because I'm just going to type in that I'm looking for an alternator. There's my alternator. And again, here's my OEM information. So I'm going to grab the labor, because this is the only place I'm going to get that. I can take a look at these OEM parts, but I'm going to shop these parts. So I'm going to see what AutoZone's got. So here's a couple of alternators that are in my actual store. I know I can grab it. I know I can get it today. I'm going to go ahead and pick this. It's going to park it in my cart here for me. I'm going to see what some of my other vendors have as well. So let's see what AC Delco's got for me. AC Delco's going to open up WHI or Next Part. The vendors that go through there, it's going to open up this additional window. It's going to bring over my vehicle for me. I'm just going to remind it I'm looking for an alternator. Here's my alternator. And here are my choices. So I'm just going to go ahead. I like this one. I'm going to grab this one. When I add it, it's going to go into my little shopping cart. I'm going to then go to my shopping cart, but I'm not going to order it right now. I haven't talked to my customer yet. I'm just going to tell it that it needs to send it back to my ticket. Once I do that, I've got all of my parts and labor parked in my little cart here. I'm going to add those to the document. Once I do that, it's going to bring me back to my document. I can talk to my customer. I can tell them I can get this remanufactured alternator for this much money, or I can get you a brand new alternator, aftermarket alternator with a lifetime warranty on parts and labor for this amount of money. So the customer chooses, you just remove the one that they don't choose, you've got your estimate ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and I can go ahead and email my customer their estimate right from here, and I'm done. I'm ready to order those parts. So once they come back and tell me what part they want, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to order my part. I'm going to check and make sure it's still available. Yes, it is. Order that part. And my AutoZone store already has my order. It's on the way.
Nice. Okay, now keep in mind, for any of you who are actually keeping an eye on your watch, that not including her explaining what she was doing, her ordering that part was about 2.5 minutes. Okay, now, if you think about, what it does or how long it takes you over the phone, you got to take the time to call up. You're going to sit on hold for a little while. You're going to wait for him to find the part in the system. He's got to go see if it's on the shelf, and he's got to do all that. Typically, the average amount of time that you're on the phone for is usually about 7 to 10 minutes. So this is 1/3 of the time. You're shaving, 60% of your parts ordering time, and that's just for one car, one part. Right. So you can just imagine, how much time it's going to save you in the long run.
Right.
Okay.
And that's if the guy doesn't want to talk about the game this Sunday. Or
yeah, exactly. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and shift back over. We're going to talk a little bit more about service writer. Managing staff workflow effectively. Your service writer really needs to know what your staff skill sets are. This also helps out with cherry picking and stuff like that. Obviously, if you've only got 1 or 2 people, then this doesn't necessarily apply. But a lot of shops out there have 3 or more mechanics out there. So making sure that your service writer has the job in the right hands is really key for productivity, and so that your shop just gets better profitability, less comebacks, things like that. Next thing is managing downtime. The most common downtime a service writer has is late morning and early afternoon, because you've got cars coming in the morning, you've got cars coming in and going out at lunchtime, you've got cars coming in and going out at the end of the day. So the most common downtime is usually between 10 and 11:30 in the morning, and between about 1:30 and about 3:30, somewhere around there. So a good thing for service writers to do to help productivity is have them do follow-up calls with customers that need future repairs. So, say a guy was, or you had a customer in 3 months ago, and you said, hey, your brakes are at 75% right now, but you're probably going to need something in about 3 or 4 months.
Right.
This is a great time to do those follow-up calls. You can set appointments with prospective customers during this time. You can have your service writer do some of that diagnostic research ahead of time. If you already know the car's got a P0171 code, he can go in and do a little bit of research on that code so it's already ready for the tech, so he doesn't have to take downtime for it.
Print up the information and have it waiting.
Exactly.
Have it pulled up on his mobile app.
Right, exactly. Yeah, especially if he's got a mobile app. That even saves that much more time. So effective customer communication is really just a huge key for service writers. I know this is just kind of old hat for most of you out there, but sometimes it's good to check the basics. Me being that I've been a diagnostician, for almost my entire life. For me, it's always about checking the basics first.
Right.
And same thing goes in business.
Manage Online has a really good communication tool as well. It has a marketing tool built in to the program. This is one of my favorite things about this program. So let's say, I'm the service writer and it's my downtime and I've only got 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go into my customer relationship management tool. And again, this is web-based, so if I'm a shop owner or manager, I don't have to be in my shop to do this. I can do this from home, in the evening, whatever. I want to know everyone in my shop that has an upcoming manufacturer service coming up in the next 2 weeks or week or however often I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick my service, I'm going to hit display, and here's my list of customers with that type of service coming up. So I'm toggled to text message right now. So everybody that's highlighted in blue has told me it's okay to text message them. I'm going to pick my service message. It's going to populate their name, their vehicle, the date the service is due, and ask them to call for an appointment. I'm going to hit send. Everybody in blue gets a text message, just like that. I'm going to come back up here now and change to email. Now everybody that's highlighted in blue has said it's okay for me to email them. I hit send again. Everybody in blue gets an email. So that took, 10 seconds even with me explaining it, and all of my manufacturer service reminders have been sent out. I'm going to come back up. If I want to do an oil change reminder, I'm just going to change to oil change, pull up my oil change customer, send, click, click, send, done. Everybody's been notified. How easy is that?
That was really simple. And again, that took like a little over a minute to go and do that. So this is really going to save a lot of time and actually increase a lot of product production, as well as bring more cars in the door, because really, what is it? It's all about car count.
Right.
getting those cars in the door. Hey, just a reminder for everyone, if you've got questions, go ahead and start putting them in the chat box right now. We are going to address all those at the end of the webinar, so just feel free to go ahead and put those in there. Okay, as we continue, managing productivity on the shop owner / general manager, okay? Now, let me kind of back up here. We were talking a little bit about CRM and customer communication. One of the nice things about Manage Online is the fact that you can access that information because it's cloud-based. You can do that anywhere. So you can be from home and do that at night if you want. You can do that when you're on, you can check the status of all your jobs when you're on vacation.
From your yacht.
Yeah, well, exactly. You bet. Okay, now, again, I'm going to talk a little bit about primary responsibilities on shop owner general manager. I know this is, again, kind of old hat, but it's always good to, to bring this kind of stuff up. Primarily, the shop owner is really responsible for bringing cars in. I know some of you guys that started out as a mechanic, you think fixing cars is your primary responsibility. But if you're the shop owner, it's also your responsibility to make sure, whether it's you or someone else, is making sure that you're getting cars into the shop. Whether it's new customers, existing customers, you have to make sure that's getting done, whether it's by advertising, marketing, what have you. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about that farther on in this webinar. Also planning ahead based on trends. Now that's, you have to be able to go into reporting and actually look at what the trends are, which, again, we're going to talk about that shortly. Employee recruiting and retention, okay? It's absolutely your job to make sure that you have the best staff possible. Also, to have a diversified skill set. When I first started out, the first shop that I owned, I started out with just me and a part-time guy, and I built it up to 8 guys within 3 years. But, that's because I did a lot of marketing. I had a background in marketing and business, things like that. But all of my staff was very diversified because I wanted specific skill sets to be able to target certain things in the shop. Right. Same thing goes for inventory management. It is absolutely your job as the shop owner general manager to have a good, effective inventory management, which, again, we're going to talk about a little bit during the webinar. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. The next thing for shop owner productivity is ongoing marketing to existing customers. Okay, now, here's something that a lot of shops don't do, so it's a good thought, all right? You can plan customer appreciation events, okay? Now, I usually recommend that you do these on Saturdays because guess what? Your customers are off on Saturday. So now I know most of your shops are probably not generally open on Saturdays, but this is a great time to schedule these events. You can engage a local music group or a guitarist or whatever you want to do. You don't have to be open the whole day. Make it for 4 hours or 6 hours, something like that. Give your staff a little bit of bonus. Maybe give them lunch, dinner, whatever, to have them come in. You want to generally tie this in with some type of maintenance special. Okay, now what I'm talking about is like a 30 or a 60 or 90,000 mile service. These are great quick services that are going to, that you can be able to bring these cars in, they come in, they go out, they're fast. You don't want to schedule any big jobs during this day.
You want high volume, high margin.
That's exactly what you want. You want something fast, and it's going to really deliver some great dollars. Plus, it's something fun. It's something fun for your customers. It's something fun, especially if there's music, your guys are going to work faster. That's just some of those things that can help drive your existing customer base, okay? And it's always great when you can have customers tell a friend, okay? Sure. And this is exactly what's going to happen. It's going to drive your business, okay? Next thing, ongoing marketing to new customers. Now, I know that you think just putting some out in a penny saver or little postcards or something works fine, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but that only attracts a certain kind of customer, okay? Generally a really effective way to really grow your business is by focusing also on engaging nearby businesses. Now, what I'm talking about is like used car lots, limo companies, anything that has a fleet. okay? You can do Comcast, DirecTV, plumbers, anything that has 2 or more cars.
Sure.
You know, because these are companies that, you know, they absolutely have to have maintenance on their cars. Taxi companies, you know, I had 3 taxi cab companies at my shop. These come in for oil changes every single month, okay? Doctors and dentist offices are awesome, okay? Now, this is a captive audience. You've got people that come in and they have to wait usually for 30 minutes, okay? So this is a great time to be able to, you don't want to go in your greasy D-shirt, greasy hands. You don't need to go in a suit and tie, but you need to be dressed somewhat nice and go in, talk to them. You can't just go in once and with some flyers and you're done. You have to go in there and talk. You have to make a relationship with these dentists and doctors' office. Take them a fruit basket, okay, something healthy like that.
Yeah, the dentist office, you don't want to take muffins.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, muffins might be good for a used car lot, but probably not for a doctor's or dentist's office. But, you know, offer them a special discount. You know, do a first-time discount for somebody that's coming in from that office.
Right.
You know, so you want them to be able to make sure that those flyers don't in what we call the round file. So you have to go in like every 3 or 4 weeks to make sure that you stay up on that relationship. Okay, these are great for first-time customers. Next thing, planning ahead for trends. Silver bullet. Now, I know a lot of or I should just see business owners. Business owners are always looking for the silver bullet, the magic pill, okay? Now, the thing is for you as a business owner, as I kind of mentioned before, you have to take your P&Ls. You have to review them. You have to evaluate them. You need to develop a strategy to be able to look at them, see, hey, here are the types of trends that I'm seeing. I'm seeing, hey, it looks like we're always slow in September. Maybe that's a great time to have my staff be on vacation. So, you know, take turns on who gets vacation in September, okay? If you're traditionally busy in March, don't let any of your staff take vacation in March. I know this sounds, you know, bonehead stuff, but there's a lot of shop owners that just don't look at the trends.
Right.
You know, but you have to see what kind of trends am I seeing. Am I seeing certain parts being always sold during a particular time? Then same thing goes for your advertising. If you know you're going to be slow, schedule different kinds of advertising during that time to bring cars in.
Seasonal.
Exactly. You know, so schedule your air conditioning during May, not June, May. Do it ahead of time, okay? You don't want to schedule when you already know. Yeah, don't discount air conditioning service in July.
Right.
You know, that's crazy. You know, I mean, you know, maybe you still have some blurb about air conditioning, absolutely, but don't give a huge discount in July. That's just, you know, that's not going to drive your profit margin, okay? You need, and also communicating with your customers, you know, and I'm not talking about just text or email or sending, you know, different things out. I'm talking about also social media. Now, if you think, oh, no, my customers don't use Facebook or social media, trust me, how do you think grandparents communicate with their grandchildren? Because guess what? Their grandchildren only use Facebook and all these weird social media stuff.
The fastest growing group of new social media users are baby boomers.
Absolutely. And that's how all the grandparents are figuring this out now. So truly your silver bullet, because everybody's looking for it, is your ability to follow through. You know, you think you can just change your production, your profitability by just doing the same thing over and over. It just doesn't work that way. Every business has to evolve. You have to evolve with it. You have to change your business. That's the only way that you're going to stay ahead is by allowing it to evolve and being able to do that. Now, next thing, one of the big things on being able to keep your staff motivated is to develop a weekly and monthly staff incentive, okay? So, decide on what works best for you. I suggest having 3 levels of achievable goals, like a good, better, best type of thing. Have something that's fairly easily reachable, but not too easy. It could be something like the total job hours that were billed out to a customer, or you can make it per tech, or you can make it for the whole team. I suggest doing both, actually, okay, because it actually drives, even if your guys are on flat rate, it drives it better for the whole team. Total shop revenue is a good one, okay? Or even total upsells, total dollars upsold. Now, this can really drive your sales, especially if you've got a 25-point inspection that you do, like say on an oil change. If you don't have any incentives for your shop techs, to do it, they're just running through and just hitting okay, 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 or needs. They're not doing a real proper inspection. But if they know there's a bonus attached to it,
they've got skin in the game.
Absolutely. So you seriously got to think about that. So you need to have incentives. And when it comes to making sure that they stay motivated, you need to schedule a weekly lunch meeting. It's okay to buy just some pizza. Do it on Wednesday. Don't do it on Friday because now they're not motivated for the weekend because they're not there. Do it earlier in the week. Wednesday would be the latest day of the week you want to do it. Maybe do it on a Tuesday. Do it Monday if you want, but do it once a week. Now, if you get really busy, maybe you don't do it every week, maybe every other week at the least, okay? But you need to give them a status report. And you need to talk to them about keeping them motivated to understanding and reaching those goals. That's what's going to drive really your productivity. That's a huge key.
How they benefit when you benefit.
Absolutely. Last thing, effective inventory management, evaluating your parts. Okay, now, there's times when your suppliers out there, they will change where they get their parts from. So you need to evaluate the quality of the parts that you're getting from your suppliers, the pricing of your parts, okay, the levels of the quality, a good, better, best. This is a great thing to be able to offer your customers a good, better, best for their choices. Now, typically what's going to happen when you do offer them, they're generally 75% of the time they're going to choose the one in the middle. Hey, you know what? That's fine. But and it might be a situation where maybe they're getting ready to sell the car and all they need is just a car, is the part changed out, they're selling it anyway. But most people that are going to keep their car, right now the trends are that people are keeping their cars now for a much longer time than they used to. They're going to buy the higher end parts. And so most parts manufacturers offer lifetime warranties on the parts now. There's no reason why you can't have a comparable warranty period for the different kinds of parts.
And if you educate your customers as to the difference in price and quality, you don't get lowballed by the guy down the street.
Exactly, because and that's exactly what's going to happen. It's just taking a little bit of time to educate your customers. So, all right, that's it for me. Those, like I said, are the biggest, I should say the most common things that we talk about in shops for all of my clients. Every shop is a little bit different, so there's really a lot. There's so much more I could cover here, but in 30 minutes, these are the biggest key points. So thanks a lot, Laura.
Sure, thank you, John. A lot of the things that we talked about, Manage Online has an answer for. There are a lot of great tools in this product. First of all, obviously, fast and easy, paperwork. So your quotes and repairs and invoices are easy to create. We do have some integrated parts catalogs. AutoZone obviously was in our first release. Now we have WHI, AutoCAT Plus, and Turbo Parts, and we have more to come in the next release. Another cool thing about it is it is cloud-based. You can access it from anywhere. Some of those great reporting features is to help talk about the tax or the trends that we were talking about, and last but not least, that built-in marketing tool to help keep you in touch with your customers. So we want your feedback. This is your tool. You have to tell us what you want. We want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. It is continually evolving. One of the great things about being in the cloud is as technology changes, as your needs change, we're able to get your feedback and change with that. So for more information, you can call ALLDATA, or you can give me a call or shoot me an email. And again, you will be getting a copy of these slides. So we're going to go ahead and open it up for questions now. If you would, we have some questions waiting, but we will go ahead and we'll take some of those. But go ahead and type your questions in the chat box, and we'll address those as we can. So there's a question here from Rick Murphy. He says, John, you talked about identifying technician skill sets and issuing work accordingly to improve productivity. Do you have a suggested list of skill sets to label techs or categorize techs into?
Absolutely. Generally the most common skill sets out there that most successful shops use are undercar work, maintenance work, heavy line work. Now, depending on your shop, some shops don't do heavy line work, but some do. and then your drivability guy, okay? And you might even have, if you have a larger staff, you might even have an R&R guy that all he does is remove and replace. So those are the most common skill sets out there.
Great. There's another question here, Kenny Brock. I'll take this one. Kenny says we're a city maintenance department, and we are researching fleet maintenance software that will benefit our shop. We have a lot of fleets using this program. This is a great way to keep track of your fleet. I can show you a more specifically geared towards the way you'd be using it demonstration. If you want to contact me after this is over, I'd be happy to set up an appointment and show you something more focused on how you would use it in a fleet situation. Also, if you would add your name and phone number and email to the chat box if you'd like to have somebody contact you after the webinar is over, that's probably the way that you'll get the fastest response. John, here's a good question. What are some good examples of staff incentives? And that's from Gregory Snell. Okay.
Hi, Gregory. You know, as I addressed in the webinar, some of the best incentives are, like I said, upsell, dollars upsold for the month or even the week. Also, just total shop revenue. So I'm not talking about net profit. I'm talking about gross sales, okay? And, you know, generally what I would do in my shop, as well as what I usually recommend to my clients, is to, like I said, have a three-tier system. So say if your shop normally does in October $25,000 in total net revenue, or I should say total gross revenue, sorry about that, then set the first standard level for, say, $24,000. Set the next one for just over what the normal average is. So set it for 26. Set the high standard for, say, 29. So, you know, it's not unreachable, but they have to, you know, bust their back ends a little bit to be able to reach that higher level. But when you do it, you know, have it to where the first level is maybe a pizza party or something. The second level is like a $50 bonus per guy or $100 bonus per guy. But the third level, the high tier, give them something to shoot for. You know, give them like an extra day off, or give them, you know, $200 or something. Because guess what? You're making $5,000 more. You know, if you've got a bigger shop, you're not doing $25,000 a month. You're doing $85,000 a shop. So, you know, obviously you got a percentage up accordingly.
So you can afford to share.
You can afford to share. If you're going to bump it up that much, then you can afford to share. Absolutely. We're just still working through some of the questions, guys. So hang tight.
Okay. So there's a question here from Byron Novak. He asks, what all can you send out in the marketing tool? Can you send out your own info? Yes, absolutely. We're actually going to be having a whole another webinar based on this marketing tool and the things that you can do with it. And so aside from reminders, you can send out your promos. You can send out, you know, we're sitting around in the shop and there's nobody there. You can blast out a no waiting text to your customers. There's a lot of great marketing things that you can do with this. So stay tuned for the next webinar from Manage Online, and we'll be covering that. You can, of course, also contact us directly, and we can talk to you about how to use that. Here's one for John. Michelle Sikora asks, what are your suggestions when you also do a lot of tires in your business to keep productivity during the day? They have two techs. They're stopping on jobs to repair tires, as we are the only tire shop around here. So we find build hours is not where it should be, and unsure how to make it more profitable or more productivity.
So your tire shop, well, you're a regular shop but does a lot of tires. Well, your productivity is going to come into the amount of or the amount of time that they're spending busting tires. So you're going to have to be a little bit more creative with how you do that style of time. So I would probably do it more on by the job. So if they do, instead of doing it by dollars, I do it, here's how many jobs they're normally doing in a week or doing in a month, and set your incentives accordingly. So if they usually do, and you have to look at your trends, of course. In October, if they're usually doing 150 tire jobs, then have it all here. The first tier is right at 125. The second one is if each guy does 125 in a month, set the next tier for 135. Set the top tier for 150. So he's got to work a little harder. He's got to get it done faster.
I think her question was pertaining more to, they're doing a lot of starting and stopping, not so much the incentive piece. They're doing a lot of starting and stopping. They have 2 techs. They're the only tire shop in town.
Yeah.
And they're stopping doing jobs that are profitable to repair tires.
Oh, okay. I got it. Well, in that case, it's a matter of managing their time effectively. It's doing tires is still a job.
Right.
So
what about hiring a lower, obviously a lower skilled staff?
Well, you can always hire, somebody on a part-time basis, or, when there's a trend that says you're going to do tires. Like, let's say, for example, because I've got a client up in, I think it's northern Wisconsin is actually where he is. I know that sounds funny that I'm in California and he's in Wisconsin, but you guys out there, in the northern states where it snows, and God bless you for you guys that are in New York right now. There's times of the year where you're either putting on snow tires or you're taking off, and that's a lot of your time. And so sometimes you can hire a guy for part-time to be able to do that work, so it doesn't take off of your regular mechanical job.
Right.
And that's really what I would suggest.
Okay, we have another question from Diane Carbo. She asked, when will we have access to other vendor catalogs other than just AutoZone? Well, that would be today. We did in our last release earlier this month, we introduced catalogs, 3 major catalogs, so WHI, which is also known as NextPart, AutoCat Plus, and Turbo Parts. In our next release, which is, I believe, scheduled for the end of March, we will have some additional catalogs as well. And I hate to throw names out there because we're still shoring that up, but some other major catalogs are just right around the corner. Okay, so Robert Pina asks, can you still use the software even though you don't have an internet connection? No, this is completely internet-based, so you would need to be able to access the internet. Sometimes if you don't have a good broadband option, sometimes there are cellular companies that will give you an unlimited data plan, and that's sometimes another option. Kayla Portman asks, will you be having a webinar on how to use ALLDATA better? We're still new to it and would like to learn some tips and tricks on how to make its use easier. Yes, stay tuned to the website and the social media pages. That's where we'll be announcing the schedules for all of the upcoming webinars. We also do have training. If you go to the website and look for training options, there are some great videos and courses on the Training Garage that can help you with any of the products that you have. Dean Syverson asks, mentions that he's interested in the fleet info also. So we're running out of time here, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But Dean, please enter your contact information into the chat box, and I'll get back to you as soon as we're done here. So I guess we are out of time. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope that this was useful for you. We know your time is is valuable, so we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I'm glad you came to it.